What is up, guys? Today we're going to be putting a Prinsu Pro Roof Rack on this brand new Lexus GX550. Make sure you follow this install guide as well as our PDF install guide, as we're constantly updating that. Let's get started. So we've got our GX550 Prinsu Pro Rack unboxed. The first thing you'll want to do is just make sure that you have everything. So we've got our 6 mounting feet, our inner and outer side rails. They come split into 2 halves. Our wind deflector, 10 crossbars total, noise reducing trim, and hardware to put it all together. To prep our roof for the Prinsu rack, we need to take off this factory roof rack and these roof rails. So in order to take off this top one, there are 8 screws, one set of 2 in each corner, and you're going to need a T30 to take those out. Once those are out, this guy should just be able to lift off, and then you can remove 3 covers and take off the roof rails on each side. Pop these covers loose, there's some retaining clips on the inside, so that inside face will need to be propped out, and then you can pry from the front edge and pop it loose, and that should expose your mounting bolts. The middle cover is pretty simple. You'll just want to find these creases back here, and using a screwdriver or pry tool, gently work it in there, and this cover should slide right out. The back is going to be the same process as the front. Just pry outward for those retaining clips on the inner face, and then you can pry up from the back and it should come loose pretty easy. So with the covers off, that's going to expose 5 bolt heads. You'll need a 12mm socket to take these guys off, and then this roof rail should be able to lift freely. So the last piece to these factory roof rails is this little retaining clip that the center post bolts into. So to remove this, there's just 2 bolts, and you're going to need a 10mm socket. Okay, so we've got the whole rack laid out, including our hardware. Our 1-inch screws with washers. We've put a little dab of Vibratite on each fastener just to make sure it doesn't vibrate loose when you're on the trails. So we're gonna start threading these screws through the outer and inner side rails into our crossbars. And we're just gonna assemble the whole rack by hand and then tighten it all up. Okay, now we're going to mount our wind deflector to our silver crossbar. To do that, you take these stainless T-nuts and we'll slide them in the tracks. We'll slide 8 of them in the tracks on the extrusion and put them in roughly where the holes on the wind deflector are. Then we'll set our wind deflector on top and mount it with these 1/2-inch screws and washers. Get everything started, and then we can tighten it all down. If I forgot to mention, we tighten all these roof rack screws with a 5/32 hex bit. Okay, so at all the mounting points on this vehicle, there are some plastic tubes that come out. So we've got our EPDM washers that are included in each roof rack hardware kit. What you'll want to do is stretch those over those plastic tubes and then take 2 of your 1-inch spacers at each location, set them right on top of that EPDM washer, and then we'll just fill that thing full of our black silicone. And we'll just do this at each of the mounting locations on the passenger and driver's side to prep it for the roof rack. So we've set the rack in place on the roof. The way we did it is we built it all on the ground, and then I had some extra help to get it up here. If you're working by yourself or just with 1 or 2 people, you can build some of the roof rack on the roof by leaving a few crossbars out. So now what you're going to want to do is center everything up. Make sure that your spacers are centered under your mounting feet slots, and then you can start to thread these M8 by 50 millimeter bolts into the factory mounting points. You want to make sure you've got them started good by hand, and then use a 13 millimeter socket to tighten them up. If you're using a torque wrench, your torque number you don't want to go past is 20 pound-feet. All right, so we've got the rack all bolted down. One of the last things we need to do is just tighten up our joint between the front and back halves. So we're gonna make sure everything is all nice and lined up and just tighten those down. And here where the inner plate meets too. There you have it, guys. We have this roof rack mounted up on this GX550, and it is the perfect combination. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to our page to see more videos like this, and we'll see you out on the trails.